Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. बोलो श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय, श्री हरि कृष्ण महाराजनी जय, श्री घनश्याम महाराजनी जय, श्री ठाकुर जी महाराजनी जय, श्री सद्गुरु देवनी जय. The Supreme Almighty, our beloved Thakurji Maharaj, who has been worshipped by all the Sadgurus from Muktanandiya Parampara, from Muktanand Swami to Puja Guruji. All those Sadguru Santos who have given us a chance to worship Bhagwan and get his Rajipo on this the greatest parampara of Muktanand Swami. From Muktanand Swami, Adharanand Swami, Haripriyadasji Swami, Vaikuncharandaji Swami, Narayan Sarupdasji Swami, our Pujya Dada Guruji, and also the pathmaker for liberation, Pujyapat Guruji, all our presently Loyadham Parivar Santo and Bhakto, all those Muktos also, with the remembrance of Maharaj, meaning Thakurji Maharaj and all the Sadgurus and Pragat Santo Bhakto. Today let we start Yuva Sabha, week 7, Atma Buddhi. Before going to start this Yuva Sabha, let we first pray all those Sadgurus from Muktanand Swami to Puja Guruji, along with Thakurji Maharaj, so that they can teach us something today's Sabha and they themselves give us some lights in our heart so that we can also try to get this Atma Buddhi in all those Sadguru Santos, our present Sadguru meaning Puja Guruji, and all the Santos and Bhaktas of Loyadham Parivar. So after the praying, let we see what is the outline of this Yuva Sabha. First one is, as we know, the title of this Yuva Sabha is Atma Buddhi. So first, regarding this Atma Buddhi, we will see the Vachanamrut, what Maharaj says in the Vachanamrut Garada last chapter 7. Then we will see what Maharaj says in the Vachanamrut Garada last chapter 11. And then what Maharaj says in the Vachanamrut Garada middle chapter 54. Then what Gunadhana Swami says in his Vato, and then two Charitras. One is from Parvat Bhai's Atma Buddhi in Santo, and the second one is Pujya Dada Guru's Atma Buddhi in his Guru. So this is the outline of this Sabha. Let me see first what Sriji Maharaj himself says in the Vachanamrut Garada Antya 7. Swaminarayan Hare, Swaminarayan Hare. Thereupon Sriji Maharaj said to all of the devotees, I shall now tell you my innermost principle. For a person who desires his own liberation, nothing in this world is more blissful than God and his Sant. Therefore, just as a person is profoundly attached to his own body, he should be similarly attached to God and his Sant. This is what Sriji Maharaj says. Now, first thing is that what is Atma Buddhi? In Gujarati, we many times listen this word from Santos Katha. But what it exactly meaning for us in this Sabha? Because without knowing the meaning of this word Atma Buddhi, we cannot go further. Because if we go further, then we do not understand what is Atma Buddhi. So let me see first what is Atma Buddhi. Atma Buddhi meaning profound attachment. Even we cannot translate this word Atma Buddhi into English with this word profoundly attached, because it has more deep meaning than merely just attachment. So It is not simply like attachment with the sant or bhakt, but more than that. What is more than that? Meaning, we have listened many times from Puja Guruji's Katha. Like Puja Guruji says in his Katha many times, like you don't worry as you are a householder devotee, but you should also keep the same affection for the Maharaj and Santo, meaning for the satsang. So sometimes Puja Guruji give an example, like if you have a 49% share in the company, then you are not the main owner. But who has the 51% of share in the company? That person can be the main owner of the company. You are little partner. So in the same way, Puja Guruji, with the example of this share dividing in the company, Puja Guruji many times says, like we should also keep the same affection, like 51% for the satsang and 49% for the your like family members, your possessions, your position, your job, your whatever your image and everything in the society. So this is what Puja Guruji says regarding this Atma Buddhi. So Atma Buddhi meaning not only the attachment with the santos and bhaktos, but even more than the attachment. What is more than the attachment? We will see during this whole sabha. Okay, so here in this Vachanamrut, Sriji Maharaj says, I shall now tell you my innermost principle. Meaning, what is Maharaj's heart? Maharaj himself discloses his heart for us. And for giving us like his innermost principle, meaning the special thing, what he kept in his heart, he gave us in these words. Like for a person who desires to his liberation, nothing in this world is more blissful than God and his son. So why Sriji Maharaj says here? Because Maharaj wanted to us like we firmly attach our own self with Maharaj and Santo. That's it. Many times we have listened from kathas and also in the charitra, like in the Loyadham in India. At the time of Sriji Maharaj, Maharaj himself was sitting in near the Patadiyo Kuo. There was a Prasadi well there, and Sriji Maharaj sat near the well, and there was a sabha of satsangis and santos. So one of a non-believer, he was passing through. He was a villager. He was passing that, and he asked Maharaj, "You claim that the santos getting liberation. That's true. But how you claim that these householder, these darbars, these Kathi Bhaktos, they will get liberation? Because here they are sitting in front of you like devotees, but after they finish this katha and assembly and everything, then their behavior, meaning their like sometimes their angry behavior or like their natural behavior, like as they are the kshatriya, meaning they are the very brave caste, and that's why they are the ruling caste in this world, and because of that they are like without any fault they are punishing us, they are teasing us, they are disturbing us. Why they are doing this? And if they are doing this, then how they can get liberation? Like by giving the pain to innocent, how they can get liberation? Then Sriji Maharaj says, you throw this wooden stick into the water, what happened? Then the villager, he said, Maharaj, as this is a wooden stick, so definitely it float on the water. Then Maharaj said, okay, what happens if you throw the iron nail into the water? Then the villager, he said, Maharaj, it definitely go into the deep of the water. Then Maharaj said, okay, now you attach this nail into this stick and then throw the stick with the nail into the water. Then what happened? Then the villager was thinking. He had no answer, but he said, yes, Maharaj. Then both the wooden stick and the nail, both were floating. Then Maharaj said, the same way. These household devotees, these darbars, these Kathi Bhaktas, they are firmly attached with this santos. Santos like a wooden stick. They are definitely float on the water. But in the same way, if these bhaktos, they are attached themselves with the santos, and that's why they are also getting liberation. Then the villager accepted Maharaj's sermon and he also became a devotee. So this is the Charitra, Sriji Maharaj's Charitra in the holy land of Loya. So this is what the effect of attachment with the Santo. And that's why Sriji Maharaj says here, to attach our own self with the Santos and Bhaktos and Maharaj. This is the most important and this is the innermost principle of Sriji Maharaj's heart. And that's why we should also attach our own self with Santos and Bhaktos. Let me see what Maharaj says in another Vachanamrut, Garda Antya 11, Garda last chapter 11 Vachanamrut. Here in this Vachanamrut, next slide please. Here in this Vachanamrut, our Adi Gurudev Muktanand Swami himself asked, how can the type of bliss that a devotee of God enjoys in Nirvikalpa Samadhi be enjoyed even without Samadhi? This is the important question. Why? Because many times we have noticed in the satsang, like santos, they are always remain in like joyful mood. That doesn't matter whether they have like lots of work to do, they have lots of seva of satsang, they have even they didn't get enough sleep, still they are fresh and they ever remain enjoy in the satsang. Why? What is the cause of their happiness? Yes, this question arises in our mind many times. Some bhaktas also did the same. Like they also remain happy forever in the satsang. Why? Because they are like enjoying the bliss of Maharaj. And here Muktanand Swami asks, like, just as a devotee enjoys the bliss of God in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, meaning in the trance, like the bliss of Akshardham, in short. The bliss of Akshardham, how one can experience while alive. That is the question of Muktanand Swami, in simple words. Meaning without Samadhi, how we can get the bliss of Akshardham. We all knew about this, like our purpose of attaining the satsang is only to attain the divine bliss of Akshardham. But not after death. Because in this satsang, we call this satsang is pragatna satsang. Meaning, what is that? Pragatna satsang meaning everything is here. Not after death. If we see bhagwan is here, if we can see the same Paramhansas like Muktanand Swami, Gopalanand Swami, Dayanand Swami, all the Sadgurus are also present in this satsang. The Santos and Bhaktos, those who were at the time of Sriji Maharaj, the same kind of Bhaktos and Santos are also present here, right now, in present time. But if we can see them, with our eyes we can see them, but we cannot recognize through the eyes of our mind, because we do not have that much mahima. And that's why, with the lacking of those mahima of santos and bhaktos, we do not have that much atma buddhi, meaning profound attachment with them. And that is why we cannot enjoy the bliss of Akshardham while alive. Or we cannot remain happy forever in this satsang. Sometimes we become more happy when at the time we perform more endeavors to please Maharaj and Guruji and Santo, and sometimes our mood, our mind is not support us. Why this happen? It's only because we do not have profound attachment with Santos and Bhaktos. And the reason of that is we do not have understood the Mahima of Santo and Bhakto. Let us see what Sriji Maharaj give the answer. Here in this Vachanamrut, Sriji Maharaj says, Sriji Maharaj replied the question of Muktanand Swami. If the devotee has profound attachment and deep love for God and his bhakt, just like the attachment and love that he has for his own body, then the type of bliss that prevails in Nirvikalpa Samadhi will continue to remain forever, even without that Samadhi. That is the only answer. Sriji Maharaj didn't say here like you should practice Samadhi, and if you master the Samadhi, then only you can enjoy this bliss even without the Samadhi. No. Sriji Maharaj didn't say like you should go to the forest and you should penance there, you shouldn't eat anything, nor you should only live on the water, and you there the whole day and night you should meditate on my form. No, Maharaj didn't say this word. Even Maharaj didn't say like you should sit in the meditation every day for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. Maharaj didn't say this. But Maharaj says you should do only one thing, and that is just as how much deep affection you have for your own body, the same amount of affection you should have for the Santo and Bhakto. That's it. This is the only key to unlock the new world of happiness. I'm going to tell you the word a room, but this happiness of Akshardham is not like the room. It's like even not like this world, but just for our understanding, like if we want to get the bliss of Akshardham, if we want to remain forever happy in this satsang, then we must have to cultivate this thing, that is to develop affection and attachment for Pragat, Santo and Bhakto. We have understood the Mahima of Muktanand Swami, but what is in Muktanand Swami? The same thing, not even like not a trance of like different between Muktanand Swami and what is present our Satpurus. But why we cannot understand the same amount of Mahima? That's why we are not enjoying the happiness in this satsang. If we understood the same amount of Mahima, what kind of Mahima we understood for Muktanand Swami, for Gopalanand Swami, the same amount of Mahima if we understood for the present Sadguru, then we can enjoy the real bliss of this satsang. And we should do this. And now, through the medium of these Yuva Sabha courses, we are going to attain that, like we are going to practice that thing. And because of that, finally one day we will attain this divine happiness, eternal happiness. This is one point in this Vachanamrut. Sriji Maharaj says, now in the same Vachanamrut, Sriji Maharaj asks a question to Paramahansas. Thereafter, Sriji Maharaj asked the Paramahansas, what type of understanding must a devotee have, whereby he will in no way recede from the path of liberation, regardless of the adverse circumstances he may encounter, and whereby he develops such staunchness that he will not be affected by any obstacles whatsoever. This is also an important question, because many times, like whether we are in the satsang or whether we are talking regarding the worldly talks, worldly matter, but in every journey, every path has some obstacles. And we are habituated to live according to this world, according to this society, but we are not habituated from many births living in this satsang according to Sriji Maharaj basis. That's why in the satsang, to walk on the path of liberation is very difficult for us. Meaning, more difficult than to walk on the path of social life, worldly life. And that is why many obstacles happen on the path of liberation. Sometimes some obstacles happen due to adverse circumstances. Sometimes our mind, our thoughts, they would not support us to worship Bhagwan. In this way, like thousands of different types of obstacles happen to the path of liberation for a mumuksu. At that time, what we can do, we are just removing those thoughts, those obstacles, but that is not the solution of the problem. If some we try and we succeed to suppress the thoughts, but at another time it will regain, meaning it itself rise in our mind. So what should do, what we can do at that time? Again, our we are consuming our energy to suppress that thought. But what is the easiest and what is the perfect way to eradicate even the root of those thoughts? Is there any way? Yes. What Sriji Maharaj says here. So Sriji Maharaj himself says, because no one was able to give precise answer, and that is why Sriji Maharaj himself said, the answer to this is as follows. If a person is profoundly attached to God and his bhakt, just as he is attached to his body, then he will not be affected by any obstacles. In fact, regardless of the extent of adverse circumstances he may encounter, he will not turn away from God and his bhakt. So if we want to stay in the satsang firmly, we do not want to be separated from Santo and Bhakto, from this Loyadham Parivar, then we should do this. Because Maharaj says, Maharaj is giving us guarantee. Like if you perform this, then you will never turn away from Bhagwan and his Santo. This is words of Maharaj himself. So we should take it very seriously. Meaning we should develop affection and attachment with Pragat, Santo and Bhakto more than what we have attachment and love for our own self. If we have something like pain or some fever or something, then we definitely take care of our own body, like by taking pills or by visiting doctor's office. In this way, we are using many ways to get well as soon as possible, right? Yes, everyone, you, me, we all. But suppose a devotee or a sant who is sick and we knew about him, like this Swami or this Bhagat is sick, then at that time we should feel in our heart the same amount what we can do for our own self, the same amount we should have the same amount of feelings for the Sant or Bhakt. Like he is also a devotee of Maharaj. He is also a follower of my Guruji. He is also a Loyadham Parivar Bhakta. So let me do something for him. This is what called Atma Buddhi. So if we do this, then Maharaj would become pleased upon us, because this is a most necessary thing. Because we want to go on this, meaning we want to go to this journey of attaining Maharaj, meaning attaining liberation, and we want to go without getting any obstacles. And we can only get this obstacle-less path if we have profoundly attached our own self with the Santo and Bhakto. Many devotees and many santos happen at the time of Sriji Maharaj. Not only that, but after that, we have the same amount of attachment and love for Santo and Bhakto we can see in the life of many Pragat Santo and Bhaktos as well. So, by observing their lives, we should also try to imbibe their virtues in our life. Then and then, we can get this virtue of Atma Buddhi in our life. It not directly come to our life, but for that we should observe Pragat Santo and Bhakta's life who have attained these divine virtues of Bhagwan, meaning the Atma Buddhi. So we should not find out any faults in Santo and Bhakta. Instead of that, we should try to find out the virtues. Like, I have listened, I have read this Vachanamrut, I have listened this Vachanamrut, and I have listened this Katha. So now let me see in who, like, meaning in who is such a devotee, or who is such a sant who has this kind of profound attachment with Santa and Bhakta. So if we try to find, definitely we will get many santos and many bhaktas around us. And if we repeatedly focus our mind towards their virtues of Atma Buddhi, then repeating our mind on Atma Buddhi of the other devotees and santos and bhaktos, then and then we can get those virtues in our life. So without any much or any further endeavor, we will attain Atma Buddhi in Santa and Bhakta. So this is the cream of the Vachanamrut Gada 11 of Gada last chapter. Now let we see what Sriji Maharaj says in the another Vachanamrut of Gada middle chapter 54. Here in this Vachanamrut, Sriji Maharaj said, one who regards satsang as the greatest spiritual endeavor is profoundly attached only to the Sant of God. Here again, Sriji Maharaj says, like one who regards satsang as the greatest spiritual endeavor is profoundly attached only to the Sant of God. For example, if a king who is childless receives a son in old age, then even if that son swears at the king or misbehaves, for example by pulling his mustache, the king would not find faults in him. Even if the son hits another child or causes problems in the village, still the king would never attribute faults to his child. Why? Because the king is profoundly attached to his son. Likewise, only one who develops such profound attachment for the bhakta of God and God has realized satsang to be the most redemptive of all spiritual endeavors. So this is what we should do. Meaning, Maharaj says here, we like the satsang for one who regards satsang as the greatest spiritual endeavor is profoundly attached to the Sant. Because what is the definition of satsang? According to the second Vachanamrut of the last chapter, Sriji Maharaj says, profound attachment or the song of Satpurus, that is called a satsang. there are many different definitions in the scriptures, but here in this Vachanamrut as well as in the Vachanamrut of second of the last chapter, Sriji Maharaj himself gave this definition for the satsang. The song of the Satpurus, that is called a satsang. That's it. So here, one who regards satsang as the greatest spiritual endeavor, because many Vachanamruts, Sriji Maharaj says, if you want to remain like, you want to remove some disturbing thoughts from your mind, you should listen to the discourses from the satsang. So, why merely listening the Kathavardham or merely listening the satsang from Satpurus, one can get rid of the bad thoughts? It's only because the power of Satpurus. And that is why we need to attach our own self profoundly with the Satpurus. That is why the same thing Maharaj says here. And Maharaj give an example. If the king who is childless and receive a son in old age, then he has how much deep affection for his child, for his son. That much affection we should have for Pragat Santo and Bhakta, for our Satpurus, for our Pujya Guruji. If we can develop this thing, then without any obstacles, without any much more effort, we will easily attain the divine bliss of Akshardham while alive. And we want to do that. Because that is the obstacle-less path. And that is the easiest way to enjoy the divine bliss in this satsang. Meaning, one who has attachment, one who has profoundly attached with Sant and Bhakt, he never perceive any faults in them. Just as here in example of the king, he never attributes any faults in his son. Why? Because he had profoundly attached with him. Otherwise, the child is like misbehave with him and creates problems in the village. But still, even he, another child, still the king has not found any fault in his son, because he had too much affection for him. In the same way, if we have affection for Santa and Bhakta, then we also never perceive any faults in them. Now, what Gunaditananda Swami says in his Vato. Next, here in Gunaditananda Swami Vato, Gunaditananda Swami says, like Bhakti Mata told Maharaj, I am a woman and I do not understand much. So please explain in brief so that I can understand and I can perform that endeavor. Then Maharaj explained to Bhakti Mata the 64 qualities of a true sadhu and said, for one who has profound attachment to such a sadhu, everything is gain. And Maharaj said, even I wish for his darshan. In this way, a lot of glory was spoken. Maharaj himself explained to Bhakti Mata like 64 qualities of a true sadhu, and himself said, for one who has profound attachment to such a sadhu, everything is gain. Everything meaning all the virtues, all divine qualities, all the attributes, everything in satsang. Meaning after attaining satsang, after beginning in this satsang as a new devotee, what we deserve to attain to become an ekantik, everything would be attained merely by profound attachment to this sadhu. So how big this thing is. And that's why we should also, even Maharaj says, like, even I wish for his darshan, meaning for the darshan of such a sadhu. And one who has these 64 qualities of a true sadhu is called a Satpurus, and we have attained that Satpurus in the form of our Pujya Guruji. So now, if we want to attain liberation or whatever we want to attain in this satsang, meaning good qualities, divine attributes, whatever sadhuta or ekantik panu, whatever we want to attain in this satsang, we want to easily attain that things only and only by profoundly attach ourselves to the ekantik Satpurus in the form of Puja Guruji. Let me see what's in the Charitra so that we can clear out the Atma Buddhi. First Charitra, Parotbhai's Atma Buddhi in Santo. Once Maharaj came back from Murubai's village and went to the village of Agatrai to Parotbhai's home. There Maharaj did sabha and then ate thals as well fed all the bhaktas. Parotbhai prayed to Maharaj with folded hands and requested to visit his farm. Maharaj went to the farm and became very pleased to see the sugar canes. And Santosh decided to cut some sugar cane into pieces and offer it to Maharaj. While Maharaj was eating sugar canes, he offered it to Parvatbhai. But Parvatbhai said, "How can I eat if my Santosh can't eat?" Because at that time, Sriji Maharaj gave Agnya to Santosh not to eat anything what is made from sugar and milk. So Parvatbhai was thinking, my Santo is not eating this thing, then how can I eat? How much Atma Buddhi he had for Santos. Even though Maharaj was present and Maharaj himself was giving prasad to him, but still Parvatbhai denied. Maharaj first gave this to Santos. When Santos would eat, then and then I can eat. Maharaj asked him, "What are you trying to say?" Parvatbhai replied, "You have given Santos a niyam not to eat any items which contain sugar cane, meaning sugar, jaggery, etc., or eat any items that are made from milk. So I also took a niyam not to eat any such items. I cannot eat anything that my Santos cannot eat." By seeing such Atma Buddhi and true love for Santos, Maharaj became very happy and said, "From today, all Santos can eat everything which comes to their jodi." Then Maharaj gave sugar cane to Muktanand Swami and declared that from today all Santos can eat sugar canes, sweets, and even all items which contain milk. Parvatbhai was very happy to hear this and ate sugar cane given by Maharaj. Parvatbhai had this kind of immense love and nishtha for all Santos. Now the story behind giving this niyam to Santo is also written here. When Maharaj was in Meghpur, that was a village, with Santos, and Santo had heard that some of the farms has tumbra, meaning guard. So Radheswaranand Swami and another Santo went to a farm looking for guards. There was a farmer doing his work and a Sant asked him, "Do you have tumbra in your farm?" The farmer said, "If you want it, you can take it." Santos looked around but didn't find anywhere, so returned empty-handed. So now you may have questioned what is tumbra and why Santo need them. So tumbra is like a guard, and you may have seen a wooden, like wooden, not a glass, but like a tumru. It's called a tumru. What Santo use it for drinking water. So you may have seen that thing. And the wooden bowl, which is called a pattar, Santo use that for eating their meal. Okay, so the tumra, the big tumras, cutting them from the middle, so meaning cutting them into half, Santos got lower part as a pattar after drying and after like processing. Santo used it use the lower part of the tumdu as pattar. And if the small guard there, small tumdas there have, so after cutting upper part and removing everything from inside and drying and processing, Santa would use that thing for drinking water. That's why Santa was searching for this tumda. And this tumda is not like for any like for the things to do, like that is not a particular thing to uh, use in a farm, meaning the farmers they have like automatically like they grown up into the near the bushes, so farmer didn't have to work or didn't have to pay attention for them because they automatically grown up when rains. So when Santo didn't found any tumda there, they returned without taking anything. But what happened? The Megpur village, the people of the village, they were dislike. They had dislike for Maharaj Santos from the beginning. And so the farmer came to Maharaj and made fair complaints that your Santos entered his farm without his permission and ate all the sugar cans. He himself ate the sugar cane and he gave the proof to Maharaj. And he said, your Santo ate this and without permission. Even though Santo didn't have took any single piece of sugar cane from his farm, still he is blaming to Santo. And then, hearing this, Maharaj gave an agnya to all the Santos not to eat sugar cane or any items made of sugar canes. So this is the story behind why Maharaj gave this niyam to Santos. And at the same time, Parvatbhai was present over there. And Parvatbhai decided, if my Santo cannot eat this sugar cane or any items made of sugar canes, then I myself also stop to eat any sugar things. So this is what Parvatbhai is Atma Buddhi, meaning if my Santo wouldn't eat, I didn't eat. And now, Puja Dada Guruji's Atma Buddhi, we have listened, we have read this story from Nandakyan and many times listened from Puja Guruji and the other Santos Katha. So this Puja Dada Guruji's story in short, like how much he has profound attachment with his Guru. For the first meeting, for the first call, he himself renounced everything behind and walked with the Santo, walked with the group of Santo towards Junagadh. Ghanshyamprakashdasji Swami, who was the first Guru of our Puja Dada Guruji, they were Dada Guruji was walking with Ghanshyamprakashdasji Swami of Junagadh, and at the time, after some while, Dada Guruji at the time, he was young in age and he was working in the farm, so he had a shoes. And Santos, they were walking barefoot. So while walking, Ghanshyamprakashdasji Swami's foot were pierced with a thorn, and at that time, he was sitting for removing the thorn from his leg. So while watching this, our Dada Guruji in his Purvasram, his name was Popat Bhagat, he was crying aloud. Then the other Santos, they were asking, Bhagat, what happened to you? Even Ghanshyamprakashdasji Swami, after removing the thorn and while walking, he also asked, what happened? Popat Bhagat, what happened to you? Then Popat Bhagat, our Puja Dada Guruji, he said, Swami, I forgot. Please give me forgiveness. I forgot you didn't have shoes and I had shoes in my legs. That's why I am crying. How much Atma Buddhi Puja Dada Guruji had for his Guru. Even not he stay for many days or many years. This is first day. This is first meeting with his Guru, and still he had this much affection for him. So now we should think for our own self, how much years, how much times we are engaged in this satsang, and how much time we are with our Satpurus, and still we do not have this much affection for him. This is not a true way of a disciple. So Pujya Dada Guruji has that much affection, and he himself removed the shoes at the same time, and he offered shoes to Ghansyamji and Swami. But Ghansyamji and Swami said, Bhagat, we have a niyam to walk barefoot, and we have a practice. This thorn is nothing for us. It's like usual for us. It's not new thing. But you should keep these shoes. Then Dada Guruji said, no. The thing, what Pujya Dada Guruji said, what my Guru, what you cannot use, I do not want to use that thing as well. Then, with the request of Pujya Dada Guruji, meaning Popat Bhagat, his Guru, meaning Ghansyamji and Swami, accepted his affection in the form of his shoes, and he walking with the shoes, and Popat Bhagat without shoes, meaning barefoot. So this is what the affection, meaning profound attachment. The thorn pierced in the foot of Ghansyamji Swami, and tears coming out from the eyes of Popat Bhagat. That is called Atma Buddhi. You many times have feel in your life this kind of Atma Buddhi while watching football or whatever your best game, hockey, whatever. So while you are watching the game, and you have your favorite player, football player or whatever your game, according to that, your favorite player, and if anything happened to your player, or he missed to make a goal, then how much, you immediately, if you are watching the game, immediately you also become nervous. Why? Because that much affection, that much attachment you have for the player. So the same amount we want to create for our Pujya Guruji, our all Pujya Santos of Loyadham Parivar and all Loyadham Parivar Bhaktos. This is the only essence of this Yuva Sabha week 7, that is called Atma Buddhi. Shri Ghanshyamprakashdasji Jai Shri Patim Sridharam Sarvadeveshwaram Bhaktidhar Matmajam Vasudevam Hari Madhavam Keshavam Kamadam Karanam Swaminarayanam Neelakantham Bhaja Shri Ghanshyamprakashdasji Jai.